p.m. and subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. The biggest sports stories of the week.
I think that is the attitude you should have. But if the first thing you bring up when you look at the standings is Craig Counsell, then he has real estate in your head.
I don't think you can even argue.
No argument.
The Green Bay
no
Packers
argument
were
the way it ended. But like I just said it, like they were 7-8 last year against everyone besides the Bears, right?
Unique and compelling analysis and opinions when it comes to your favorite teams.
As much as they want, because both teams are good, and that game to be those
Kyle, you're not feeling this.
Jason knows I'm not feeling
Kyle
it.
and I have already had this argument.
Yeah.
You hate that I feel.
What else was on the WB back then? What else did I miss?
You probably saw the Wayans brothers, right?
Yeah.
The Jamie Foxx show. Come on now, Craig. Come on, Craig. You know the Jamie Foxx show?
No.
You know
This is Sunday Karma, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Here's GKB founder and CEO, Craig Karmazin.
It's been a minute, huh? I thought the Packers were good again.
I thought so too.
Right? Wasn't that like last year where the Packers weren't good?
Yeah, what do you mean you thought the Packers were good again? When did you think they weren't good?
Then why are they playing at noon all the time and our show gets bumped?
Maybe the NFL was skeptical.
Good teams don't play at noon all the time, right? I mean,
No, maybe they want marquee matchups at noon.
We went through 2 decades of never having noon games, and now this show is getting bumped all the time because the Packers are playing at noon.
Yeah, I'm glad you let people know it wasn't us.
Unless
it was
that's
the NFL.
Unless that's the Jaguars. Like, it's just like when you play the Jaguars, you're going to play at noon. It doesn't matter who you are. You may play at 9 if you're like in London, but you ain't playing later than noon if you're playing the Jaguars.
Oh, wow, I didn't notice that.
But I don't think the Packers play the Jaguars every week. I mean, that's wild. I mean, it took one of the games of the year, which today is, to finally get us to have a show.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm telling you, they just wanted to have the marquee matchup of the Packers at noon, to make sure they can drive that 12 o'clock noon, 1 o'clock
obviously
Eastern.
not, because they're not having the Packers-Lions game at noon, right?
Like a little different. They wanted to drive it.
No, when there's a big-time game, it's not at noon. And so, finally, the Packers are in this spot where we get to do a show. They get to play a big-time game. Jordan Love gets to play through injury, gets to do his Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. He's going to play, whether it's in the best interest of the team long-term or not. You're going to throw your guy out there in a big-time game, right? I mean, that's kind of how the NFL works.
You laying it out there. That's your stance.
What do you mean?
Your stance is Jordan Love should be playing today regardless. If he feels okay,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is what's happening. I don't know enough about his individual situation to make a comment on what he should be doing. I mean, obviously, if he's going to put himself at risk for the rest of the season, he shouldn't be playing. But you could say that about any game, right? Then you might as well wait till the postseason to try to play.
I mean, I would say sometimes you need to just figure out how hurt somebody is.
Right.
I mean,
no, and what I'm saying is I trust that the Packers have done that, right? That they've seen they can win games without Jordan Love. So
undefeated without him.
Right. So I trust them enough to know that they're not being irresponsible to play him in this game from his health standpoint. Now, what I don't know is if some of the interceptions we saw against Minnesota were like, his plant leg wasn't this or that, and he was still trying to make the same throws. And so coming back from injury, he's more likely to make mistakes. But I think a Jordan Love who is more likely to make mistakes is still more likely to win the game than Willis today.
I think Jordan Love, when you talk about mistakes, if he is able to maneuver around the pocket and be himself, right? Like he's not, as we saw in the first half against the Vikings, where he obviously wasn't comfortable yet. It was only his second game of the season.
I guess just play it this way. If Malik Willis is playing, what chance do you give the Packers today?
Oh, I'll give him a 40% chance.
That high? I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that's I mean, if you look right now, the Packers are seen to have a 45.2% chance to win with Jordan Love.
Yeah, with Jordan Love, I think it's at home 50-50.
Okay.
50-50 at home. Because the Lions not going to play at this level
Now that's
forever.
a healthy Jordan Love?
That is a healthy Jordan Love. Somebody who's not hampered in the pocket, right?
Right. So maybe if it's Willis is 40, Jordan Love's 50-50 at home, and the Jordan Love we're going to see today is maybe 45.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's what it is.
Yep. I think that's totally fair. And I think what the Packers have to be genuinely excited about, and Packers fans, I know they haven't gotten the style points every week, is that Jordan Love has missed extended action this year and through pretty much half the season, right? I know it's a 17-game season now. This team's 6-2, right? Like, I mean, this is pretty impressive. And I know games have been coming down to last-second field goals, but they've been making them. And when you look at it, there's only two teams in the NFL, the Chiefs and the Lions, that have a better record than the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, but there are going to be other teams like the Vikings have 2 losses.
Yeah.
Packers, but you're talking about just in
Vikings
general.
are 5-2, Eagles are 5-2. The other 6-2 teams are the Steelers, Commanders, and Bills.
And
I'm saying there's only two teams that have a better record than the Packers.
Yeah, I think
and the Lions are that team in the NFC.
I think that speaks to the overall growth of this football team from last year to this year. As you were talking about at the start of the show, that we thought this was a little bit different of a football team. They should be playing later games, more marquee matchups for the primetime football. But overall, I think that just is indicative of the growth the Packers have made, because last year they weren't able to win those close games. Last year they were trying to figure things out,
especially early in the season, right? Like lose at the Raiders, lose at, there were some of those like
against bad teams.
Yeah, now
they're not losing to bad teams right now.
Now the question is, the defense is turning everybody over and all that. How good of an offense have they been playing against, right? Because we know Anthony Richardson has not impressed outside of the Packers game, so I don't know how much credit we want to give.
He wasn't even impressive in that game.
No, he was terrible.
Yeah,
I'm saying, so I don't know how much we want to give the Packers credit for that defense. I don't know that the Titans, right, that Levis has been much of an impressive quarterback.
He's benched now.
Right? So I don't know. He's not benched. He was hurt. He is being given the job back, but he's
he was
healthy.
Hurt?
Yeah.
Healthy scratch, I say.
Okay. We know the Vikings put up numbers on the Packers. The Rams were missing Kupp and Nakua.
They were.
When they played the Packers. Arizona Cardinals.
They were healthy.
Yep.
They were healthy.
And then the Texans, we know, came in without Nico Collins and left without Stephon Diggs. Right? So, I mean, the Jaguars...
No, the Jaguars last week, the thing that was stunning for me on the last drive, the Jaguars were missing 3 of their top wide receivers, right? And so, yes, this defense, for me, there is still some work that needs to be done. But overall, Craig, something that we have to find a positive is the fact that, like you said, they're able to force turnovers. We have to find the bright spot and a step in the right direction. And I overall feel this has been a step in the right direction, because most of those games, the defense was able to hold their own. Now, I know last week was disappointing with the defense at the end of the game, but overall, all those games, whether you're talking about the game against the Colts, whether you're talking about the game against the Titans, this defense held their own for the most part.
Yeah, and we know that the turnovers were the biggest, missing link from this defense last year. And to look up right now and to see in the NFL, the Lions and the Vikings and the Steelers and the Niners are tied for the second most takeaways with 15.
Behind us.
And you know how many the Packers have?
I think the Packers have 19.
19. So all those teams have 15, and that's second. And this team has 19, which is crazy, right? Like, I mean,
no, it's not crazy. I predicted that to start the year.
I mean, I predicted that this team would have 50% more turnovers forced than they did last year, but this is even more than that. I mean, this is more than 2 a game, which nobody averaged, I think, in the NFL last year. I think like 1.9 a game might be the highest. And I know we're not, through the year, but they're averaging almost 2.5 turnovers a game. If they had one more turnover, they'd be forcing 2.5 turnovers a game. So speaking of turnovers, the Milwaukee Bucks lost last night, and maybe the biggest reason was turnovers. If you look at what the difference was between in a really evenly played game between the Bucks and the Cleveland Cavaliers that came down to Dame Lillard hitting a big-time shot, and then Donovan Mitchell hits a big-time shot that he wanted to go earlier, which would have given them, if he had made it, would have given the Bucks a better chance at a game winner. But the Bucks played such good defense that he didn't get his shot off and to make it until there were 0.3 seconds left. So then the Bucks only had 0.3 on the back end. So the fact that the Bucks played good defense on that next to last possession almost worked against them getting a last second shot off. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell just hit a big time shot.
I didn't even want to see it because I thought the Bucks came back and won. I thought they won the game. I was at the Black and White Ball yesterday, and we did the after party, so I didn't watch the game. And so then I saw that Dame got hot, started cooking in the fourth quarter, or at least from what I saw.
No, Dame was cooking in the first quarter.
He closed it out, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 18 in the first quarter, en route to 41 overall, but he was hitting big shots down the stretch.
That's
10 3-pointers, Bucks record, like all that.
But then
he played great. Giannis played great. Torian Prince played great. They were playing
what the heck happened?
They were playing against an undefeated Cavs team, and the Bucks are still playing without Chris Middleton. And Bucks, you hate to say it this way, but you actually felt really good coming off last night compared to the efforts you had seen in the previous 4 games. And I won't say the entire game against the Celtics because the first half the Bucks did look good against the Celtics, but losing at home against the Bulls, losing at the Brooklyn Nets were both terrible losses. And then you go to the Grizzlies, and that's a tough place to play sometimes, but you figure having just lost to the Celtics and having lost 3 in a row, you thought the Bucks would put up a better effort than they did at
Craig, by the time
Memphis.
I got home from work on Thursday when they were playing Memphis, I saw the game was like a 15, 20 point. I said, what the heck? I can't even watch it. I can't stomach to watch any of this right now because I need Wisconsin sports to do better. I'm after the Brewers got put out, I couldn't watch any baseball. I want to enjoy basketball. The Bucks, they were impressive game one.
Speaking of trying to enjoy Wisconsin sports, we also have not mentioned yet what happened last night in Iowa.
I didn't see it, but I'm glad I didn't.
I mean, you're not seeing it. We know you were at the big event. So tell us about the Urban League of Milwaukee event last night.
The Greater Milwaukee Urban League was a great event. It was fantastic, raising money for different community initiatives that they have, whether it's education, employment, and advocacy across Greater Milwaukee. That's great, but I miss train wrecks. That's what it sounds like. I missed the absolute train wreck and a disaster.
Right, you were at the Black and White Ball.
I was.
What happened to Wisconsin sports was black and blue last night, right?
I guess so.
As the Bucks end up losing at home to the Cavs, the Badgers end up getting just throttled as the game.
You don't know how upset I am about this, Craig.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I want to know what people are excited, upset, whatever about. So we are going to do it. It's very rare. What we're going to do right now, it is open phones, open texts. Next segment, till we get to Wilde at 10:30. Your thoughts on what's going on, what you care most about. By the way, it could be Willie Adamas. It could be whatever it is. Next segment, your thoughts. 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. Your thoughts on the Bucks, the Packers, the Badgers, whatever team right now, the Brewers, it could be. Whatever team has you going. By the way, I'm going to the Marquette game Monday night. We
are.
Marquette, there we go. Well, all of it could be in the mix. Badgers got throttled by Nebraska on Friday night, right? A little volleyball action.
I saw the score for that. I said 3-0.
All right. Whatever your team, give me a call right now. I promise you if you call, we'll get to you next segment. We've been gone for a long time, so we have a lot to catch up on. Text us 800-990-3776. That's 800-990-ESPN. Call now, 800-990-ESPN. That's 800-990-3776. That's your call and text line. We'll get to all of your thoughts on all of your teams as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Confidence and strength begin with how you feel. At Quintessa Aesthetic Center, it is not about just looking good. It's about results that last and empower you. With 5 convenient locations in Delafield, Mequon, Brookfield, Middleton, and Sheboygan, their team of world-class plastic surgeons, skilled clinicians, and expert estheticians are here to help you take control. Whether it's advanced skincare, anti-aging treatments, body contouring, or muscle strengthening, Quintessa has everything you need to sharpen your image and boost your confidence. Take the first step towards a stronger, more confident you. Visit myquintessa.com today.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff. We like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated and uncompromising. Like an award-winning men's grooming experience from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Open 7 days a week, even Sundays. Walk in anytime, and before you know it, our talented stylist will bring you back to a simpler time. A time when you were handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The Homer Hour with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
You still had a cigarette lighter in there?
No, we should all be dead.
An ashtray.
They have the station wagons where the people in the back were facing the other direction.
The Homer Hour with Homer.
The Packers got more money than God, so there's in the NFL there's no shortage. Yes, we need fundamentally in the NFL, anything Detroit does, you just assume you can do it better.
Weekdays from 5 to 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on YouTube. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs. Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry Are you guys being serious? You guys can't put two.
I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnover.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
I will say, if you're driving yourself to the game, can't bring it home.
Come on.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
18, 19. If you're a teenager, you could still bring a glove.
License is the way to go.
What if it's vote?
No.
Why can't we compromise?
I'm unwilling to vote. I don't know how to make it more clear.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Untethered, unfiltered, and unbothered.
I'm talking about Subarus. Anybody in the Subaru driving down Fond du Lac or Capitol, I'm like, you are not where you need to be driving that slow.
Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL, and sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It is always a Subaru.
And they likely have a lot of bumper stickers.
Weekdays from 2 to 5, right here on 94.5 ESPN. And subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts.
Man, I got this swag. My habits in my bag. You know I'm poppin' tag. But man, I got this swag. Man, I got this swag. My habits in my bag. You know I'm poppin' tag.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Good morning, and great to be back with you. It's been a little while as the Packers been playing some noon games, so we've been bumped, but great to be with you as Maybe you're heading up to Lambeau right now, heading back from church. Who knows what you're doing on a Sunday? But we're happy that you choose to do it with us as we take you up until noon when it is the start of your NFL Sunday. Packers playing at 3:25. We'll talk to Strophe and get you ready with the Green and Gold Game Day crew leading into your game. The best way to be occupied for your drive up to Lambeau or during your football Sunday is our crew that is coming up next. But right now we want to give you the chance to jump in. There's so much going on. Badgers get destroyed last night in Iowa. The Bucks lose a tight one at Fiserv Forum. Packers getting ready for a big one. We just heard Matt and Myron talking about it leading into our show about how big a deal this is, that this pretty much gives the Lions a 2.5 game lead if the Lions were to beat the Packers. So massive game here. And sure, we're reading the articles that you are, right? I'm seeing, Willie Adames is this great fit for the Atlanta Braves, and Orlando Arcia, who only makes $2 million, could get bumped to make the Braves offense better, to put Willie Adames with the Braves. All of those depressing potential scenarios that we know are likely, and we know we feel confident in what this Brewers team is going to be one way or the other. So jump in with us now, 800-990-3776. It's 800-990-ESPN. Let's start out with John, works in construction. You're on Sunday Karma. Morning, John.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We got you. What do you got, John?
Jordan Love, I think he's the greatest, but I think they criticize him just to, I don't know, I think he gets bad criticism, but he's going to be a great quarterback, I think, for the Packers.
Yeah, so do you think he should be playing today with coming off the injury and stuff, or would you rest him knowing how highly you think about him long term? Would you want him maybe getting an extra week of rest here?
Well, it depends, how he feels. I mean, if he's physically ready to go, I think he should play. But if he's hurt, then maybe he should sit it out.
Yeah, I mean, you got Lions, then a week off, then the Bears in Chicago, then back home for the 49ers. I mean, that is a stretch that will help decide the year. And so Jordan's thrown 9 picks, which is about what we're used to, more than we're used to seeing Aaron throw in a year. But you're still feeling, so if it was on you, John, to predict, you're saying we'd be looking at back-to-back-to-back Hall of Famers? You think Jordan's going to be that good?
Yeah, I think he'll be that good. I think he'll be real good. He's going to be great. I think people are just, they criticize the kid all the time. I mean, he's not a rookie, but this is just his second year playing, and last year he was phenomenal. I think he's going to take them to another level.
Yeah, thanks so much for the call, John. Jordan Love, 9 picks, which is, I think, more than any of us would have thought, considering he's missed 2+ games. But, I mean, I think we all believe the Packers got it right, and are with John, right?
Oh, yeah, I truly, he made me a believer last year. I'm done sitting here questioning or being skeptical about things where I believe we've truly seen enough. So that's why I'm so sold on Malik Willis to be a really good backup quarterback. When you combine him with Matt LaFleur, I feel like the creativity allows for the Packers to be competitive. I saw what I need to see with Jordan Love at the end of the year last year. Not only was he successful and led the Green Bay Packers to the playoffs, but then on top of that, the way he performed against the Dallas Cowboys in his first career playoff game after the way they started that season, that showed me exactly what the top was for Jordan Love. And for me, I'm sold.
800-990-ESPN. You could jump in with us now, 800-990-3776. John says this team is 6-2, and you guys have them losing already before the game's even played. Granted, it's the Lions, and it's a tough team, but that's why you play the games, and you guys both have them losing today already. Be positive.
Who is you guys?
That was the two of us.
I never said that. You asked me the percentage.
Right. We said we think it's about a 45% chance with an injured Jordan Love that they beat the Lions. So we both think this is a possible win. I said on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy that to me, by the way, if this game was in Detroit, I would actually feel slightly better about it in a weird way, because I think, like the Packers were able to sneak up on the Lions on Thanksgiving, and I really truly believe they did. I believe the Packers came out just so better ready to play that day. And remember, that was not a Hafley defense. That was the previous defense that came out and looked as good as it did on Thanksgiving last year against the Lions. I feel like the Lions, you get a little more focused version of them. The fact that Jordan Love is playing, you get a little more focused version of them. Aiden Hutchinson's still out, obviously a big advantage.
He's done for the year.
They've said maybe if they make it to the Super Bowl. Which has never happened in the history of the Detroit Lions franchise.
If it's a big year for maybe.
Yeah, but if there was going to be a possible year, maybe this would be it. I did not pick the Packers in the Eagles game, right? I picked them to lose that game. I'm trying to think of how many other games this year I have.
I got the Packers undefeated this year.
Yeah, you have not picked them to
twice.
lose. Oh, I picked them to lose to the Texans, and I had them beat it.
You picked us to lose to the Texans?
Yes.
Why?
The game came down to the final field goal.
The Packers were pretty much dominant that game. Come on now, stop playing with me, Craig. Joe Mixon had a day. He had a day, but they stifled.
That is exactly.
And they didn't have Nico Collins, so you didn't believe in the Packers defense. Clearly,
what I didn't believe is in the Packers running game, and so I thought in the running defense. Sorry, the running defense. So what I thought was Mixon would tear them up, and that would set up C.J. Stroud, and I didn't believe the Packers offense would have that big a day, and. By the way, I thought the Packers would lose to the Titans at Tennessee, which they won 30-14.
Oh, my God.
What? I'm being honest. I'm pulling out my real receipts.
Your real receipts. These receipts suck.
But I'm saying Malik Willis going into that game, we had no idea what he could be. Because remember, at home against the Colts, they did not throw the ball. All they did was run the ball that whole game. They did not trust Malik Willis. And the Titans going into that game had one of the best defenses in the league.
Craig,
just because I'm being honest after the fact, why are you going to be mad at me for being honest? Because everyone else who is in sports media has to be dishonest about what happened?
No, but the thing is that Malik Willis, for me, you can say they didn't throw the ball that much, which is true. They didn't have to throw the ball. They could run the ball.
Against the Colts? They won 16-10. They almost lost that game by being so conservative.
They didn't almost lose the game.
Yes, they did.
The Colts had a chance to score it late?
Yes.
Oh, well, their defense put them away. It's like they did most of that game. They shut them down.
Yes.
But, Craig, the thing is Malik Willis, you got to look at you can't look at the big picture. The game plan was to run the football, right? But then you have to look at when a guy has an opportunity when they are called upon to execute. He executed when he needed to, right?
He did, but that's 5 weeks ago, and we didn't know that he was going to be able to do that at Tennessee against a defense.
Who is this we? Ain't me.
Against a defense which at that point looked like an elite defense. Remember, the Titans only lost to the Bears because they gave away that game. The Titans only lost to the Jets, and those were the two games that they had played, based on some last-second Aaron Rodgers drive. So what I'm saying is, I don't show up and just pick the Packers every week. That's not what I do here.
Excuse me, is that a shot at me? What do you mean I just show up and pick the Packers?
Maybe.
I have a reason.
You just said they picked them every week.
I have a reason.
All right, let's get into some Badger stuff. Brandon in Tulsa says, I'm an Oklahoma fan, and he's in Tulsa, and the Sooners are in the same boat as the Badgers. We stink. Luke Fickell and Brent Venables aren't bad coaches, but they haven't figured out how to attract the best players. Until there's a salary cap and tight restrictions on the transfer portal, I don't see anything getting better. Jeff in the 920 says Luke Fickell is totally over his head in the Big Ten. Mac has to put him out of his misery and move on next season, and we'll be getting blown out just like last night, which is embarrassing. Bloody says the Badgers must have the patience to get a guy in, pay him, and teach him the Wisconsin football way. They can't worry about him leaving, as if he's paid fairly, treated well, he will stay. The Bucs have to figure out who on the bench can actually play and let them learn the role, which I do think once Chris Middleton's back, right, that naturally makes the bench better. Last night, bench outscored 34-13. Bench gets better just by Chris Middleton coming back. having 2 of the 4 stars on the court once we get Chris back, Bloody says, at all times, and leading the bench players would be better. Packers get the lines back settled in. Way too many offensive linemen getting past our defensive line and locking them down. About still no rush. There you have it from all different angles. The only angle that we need now is
Jason Wilde.
Yes, he's coming up next. By the way, let's sneak in Dave from Aaron, who said, Kyle was playing hooky Friday, but I texted KBN. I feel good about the Packers today. In fact, with a game-winning field goal, once again.
Why you read those lies? You could have skipped the hooky part.
Packers 31-28 will take the W from Dave from Aaron.
I like the pick.
Wow, so you didn't watch any games last night because you were at the black and white ball, and you also skipped the show on Friday.
I was at a wedding Friday, a 3 o'clock Friday wedding.
You.
Shout out to my guy Greg, who listens to KBN. I came into the wedding and we were talking. He was like, "Wait, you work 94.5? I listened to that." I said, "Brother, I'm Kyle."
Well, Greg Marcus, when he met you after, I was like, "Do you know who that is?" He's like, "No." I was like, "That's Kyle from KBN." He's like, "What, from KBN?"
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Greg Marcus was like, "Oh, why didn't you tell me it was Kyle from KBN?"
Oh, yeah. A lot of people say I don't look how I sound.
Yeah, there you go. Well, one guy who does look how he sounds is Jason Wilde. He's up next at Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. If you're looking for a truly unique luxury SUV, look no further than the new Range Rover Sport at Land Rover Waukesha.
The new Range Rover Sport SUV provides power, performance, sporting luxury, and all the latest technology and connectivity you want, plus the most luxurious ride.
And now is a great time to get an offer like this.
Get 3.9% special APR financing for up to 48 months on a new 2024 Range Rover Sport at Land Rover Waukesha. Go to LandRoverWaukesha.com.
Save big money on your next plumbing project with help from Menards. We offer a variety of water heaters to fit your home's needs. Get hot water when you need it with a Richmond Smart electric water heater. Its advanced system detects any potential water leaks and sends an alert to your smartphone. Check out the weekly flyer and all of our great deals happening on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Macy's Friends and Family is going on right now, and it's the best time to shop for all the gatherings and gifting ahead. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest trends, new arrivals, and the best brands like Karl Lagerfeld Paris, Steve Madden, Hotel Collection, and more. And get 15% off beauty too. Plus, get free shipping with any $25 purchase today at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. I know it. And Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $8.95? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $8.95 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Oh, baby! Robert Hack Diamonds in Greenfield and in Brookfield. Why overspend when you can save at Robert Hack Diamonds for the same diamond you're looking for? Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services in cash for your old gold. But remember, before you do anything, as I did, RobertHackDiamonds.com, and visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Pocket so fat, call me Orbit. Norbit. Gotta wait to make no move, I be loaded.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
And gotta wait to make no moves, I be loaded. Why you also drinking 40s? I just.
By the way, Kyle, how about that Commanders last play against the Bears last week?
Craig, I was watching it live.
You were watching it?
I just got back from Michigan, and so I got back from Michigan. I was kind of relaxing, and I said, well, let me just turn on this stupid Bears game. And boy, Craig, when I say I turned it on at the right time, I jumped up and said, yes!
Did that feel like as good as any, Packers win or not like that?
It felt better than the Packers field goal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
The Packers field goal was expected because of how close it was. That one I was like, oh my goodness, I love seeing the Bears suffer.
Yeah. Well, one guy who we know doesn't care, but he does root for the best story. So maybe he liked that Hail Mary. Is Jason Wilde. Good morning, Jason.
Yeah, not a great story for Tyreek Stevenson, right?
Yeah, well, don't you? I don't know. I think it is, right? I think isn't that the kind of stuff you root for, where all of a sudden some guy we never heard of becomes a main character, and now we see how he responds and what his career ends up becoming. And I don't know, that feels like a very Jason Wilde thing to enjoy watching that trajectory.
Yeah, well, if he rebounds from it, great, but that's a tough look, man. Holy cow! I mean, to be taunting fans while the play is going on behind you and you have no idea, that's a tough one to recover from. I am curious to see what his career trajectory is, no doubt about it.
Is that something real quick, and I'll get to the Packers, but is that something that may have happened before, but we wouldn't have seen it because of social media? Or do you think one of the cameras would have pulled that out at some point? Or is this a new, hey, these things may have happened before, we just didn't know about it?
I don't think it would have happened during the NFL Plus era where normal people like us have access to the all 22 film, because you would have certainly seen it then and somebody would have tweeted it out. We wouldn't have known it in the moments after the game, because the fan who posted that, his video went viral pretty quickly. But yeah, it could have happened, in Tausch's day, for example, when I was still recording games on VHS and only had the TV copy, but definitely not in the last decade plus where we've had access to that all 22 video.
Jason, it's been a while since we talked, but let's get the quick health stuff for today out of the way. So Jordan Love's health, Jacob's health, any other health we need to worry about coming into this game? Obviously, we know Aiden Hutchinson's out, but any other Packers health we need to be thinking about coming into 325 today?
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, let's start with the two you mentioned. I mean, I think, Josh Jacobs, we were talking to him during the week, and his mentality was basically, look, in order to be able to go on Sunday, I need to take it easy during the week. So I got to get my body back. So he didn't practice Wednesday, minimal work on Thursday and Friday. He's listed as questionable, but I think in the old days of having probable as an option on the injury report, which has been gone now since 2017, he'd be probable and he's going to play. I would be shocked unless something totally unexpected happens in warm-ups with his ankle. He's playing. Jordan Love, I always think it's interesting because when Adam Schefter and the folks that are insiders that talk to these guys' agents and get the inside scoop about their availability, it's always interesting to me that they phrase it as Jordan Love is expected to play. Well, expected by whom, right? And the example that I will use from this morning is Brian Robinson, the running back for the Commanders. He was expected to play. Adam and others used that exact phrasing for him, and he's inactive. Adam just tweeted that the pregame workout did not go well. So he's not, Adam's a really smart guy. He did not say Jordan Love will play. He couched it wisely because we don't know that for certain. Now, I would say that the Packers clearly expect him to play because they didn't call up Sean Clifford from the practice squad. And if for some reason Jordan Love isn't able to play, it's Malik Willis, and that's it. It's too late to call Sean Clifford up, so they don't have that as an option. So obviously they expect him to play, they want him to play, and they are planning on him playing. Now, after that, though, there's a couple of other pieces here that I think are going to be really interesting to watch when the injury report or when the inactive list comes out at 1:55 while we're doing Green Bay game day. One is Josh Myers, their starting center. He is listed as doubtful. He did not practice all week. He has a left wrist injury. He snaps with his right hand, but obviously he needs his left hand to block people. There was talk about him using some sort of club cast to protect that wrist. I'm guessing that they're experimenting with that. They did not want him throwing that hand during the week and, basically saving the hits on it until game day. But doubtful, guys that are listed as doubtful very rarely play. So if he does not play, that means Elton Jenkins goes to center, Sean Ryan starts at left guard, and Jordan Morgan starts at right guard. And then the other question mark here, with Evan Williams already out at safety, is Jair Alexander. He is also questionable. If he doesn't go, that further creates that chain reaction in their secondary. They already are going to have to move Javon Bullard, who has been working in the slot, to safety, which is where he took a ton of snaps there during the week and during the training camp, so it's not like he's completely out of position by any means. But then that means you got to move Keyshawn Nixon inside from the outside on passing downs. It means either Eric Stokes or Carrington Valentine has to play that outside spot if they have Jair Alexander, and if they don't, they're going to play both those guys. And it appeared to me, and Matt LaFleur, because of my poor choice of words in my question, wouldn't say so, but I'm pretty sure that they benched Eric Stokes down the stretch of that game in Jacksonville and brought Carrington Valentine in. And if Jair Alexander isn't playing, both those guys have to play corner today.
So that's a lot of stuff going on today, huh?
Yeah, not just Jordan Love. Yeah, Jordan Love, top of the line of conversation with injuries, but especially going against a team that has scored 172 points in the last 4 games. That's not ideal for your secondary. If Jair plays, I think they're okay. I think Bullard has plenty of work at safety. He started the season there until Evan Williams basically forced his way onto the field. So that I don't think is catastrophic. But if they have to slow down this offense, and I know they don't have Jameson Williams, and I understand that the Lions have injuries too. They got a really good offensive line. We all know they've got a really good tight end in Laporta. They got a bunch of wide receiver weapons still. And they've got Jared Goff, who, if he is not under duress, is playing quarterback as good as anybody in the league right now.
Well, Jason, my metric for measuring quarterbacks is
QBR.
Is the QBR, yes, of course. And so it's interesting because I don't know if I've ever seen anyone with as big of a difference. So Goff is second to Lamar Jackson in passer rating in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So in passer rating, he's the second best passer. In QBR, Jared Goff is 22nd out of 30 in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide disparity. He lost 4 fumbles. He is definitely a different, I think, Matt LaFleur, who has a particular affinity for him, having coached him in L.A., tried to be as nice about it while also clearly stating the fact, and that is, and Tausch talked about it during the week. I mean, and you both are right in your assessment of Goff. When everything is the way it's designed, and he doesn't have to go off schedule. He doesn't have to move in the pocket. He's just able to, in rhythm, make throws. He's really good. He is, regardless of what his QBR is. The trouble comes when you get pressure on him, and to me, that's what today is all about with whether they can do it with 4. They certainly haven't shown the ability to do that, and this is a really good offensive line they're going against. So that means Jeff Hafley's going to have to get creative again.
Now Jason, is there anything we can take from Thanksgiving? Because I know it's a different coach, it's a different year, it's a different everything, but that was like the best I saw the Packers defensive line look, and I don't study defensive, right? But like that day, it was like they just were getting pressure on the Lions like whenever they needed to. I mean, is there anything that Packers fans can take from the last time these two teams played on Thanksgiving?
Sure, and I'll be curious. It's going to be wet, so I don't know how that's going to impact them. I know Decker has not played well of late. We were talking to TJ Lang about him. TJ's on the Lions radio network, and obviously did our players only YouTube earlier in the season with Tausch. Ragnow's been playing through an injury, so it's not ideal for them either. And this sure feels like an opportunity, but this all ties together because if you can get pressure with 4, then you have a buffer basically if you're playing without both Evan Williams and Jair Alexander in your secondary. If you need to start sending more and being more creative, which I do think they're going to have to do, then you obviously expose yourself to some risk in the back end. So again, I don't know what Jeff Hafley has planned. I loved his answer when I asked him during the week about, the idea of getting pressure on Goff. It was basically, look, we can't just heat him up on every third down and send 5 or 6 guys. We need to be able to make him think somebody's coming and then someone else comes and all these other, ways to try and confuse him. And Jared Goff's played in the league for a long time. He's seen a lot of things. So shy of actually getting in his face and getting him off the spot, I don't know how susceptible he is to seeing ghosts or being confused, but that's what they're going to have to try and do today if they're going to have success against it.
We'll have more with Jason Wilde as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs... Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry turnovers. You guys can't put 2 and 3
I got it. I did not get
it. They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
One call, that's all. Gruber Law Offices, there for you. They're nationally recognized, but they are local. You are dealing with a Milwaukee-based company that has gotten this big, and he is here in Milwaukee, right? So if you do a TikTok imitating that you're dressing up as David Gruber, you may end up at his office like someone did this week. That's the beauty of still being family-owned, connected to this community, involved in the philanthropic efforts, touching the teams that you care about, at the events you care about. So if you or a loved one is ever injured, remember, it means something. One call, that's all.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats.
And free groceries.
Okay, just calm down. We'll get to that later.
Stay tuned in right here to score free groceries.
Stop, please.
Okay, I'm shutting up. My lip is zipped.
Anyway, let's get to this week's specials at Century Foods. Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce selected varieties Stone Ridge ice cream, 2 for $7. 14.1 to 33.5-ounce selected varieties Culinary Circle pizza, $4.99. Gallon selected varieties Prairie Farms white or chocolate milk, $3.99. 8 to 16.5-ounce selected varieties Hostess multi-packs, $2.99.
And now time for the big reveal. Free groceries.
That's too over the top. Try this. Win free groceries from Century Foods.
Win free groceries from Century Foods.
Forget it. I'll handle the rest. Enter to win $500 worth of free groceries on Century's Facebook or Instagram by January 8th.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me,
how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Have you been patiently waiting and waiting some more for the right time to buy your first home? Hi, it's John Reeves from Great Midwest Bank, here to remind you that our experienced loan officers can answer questions and provide insight every step of the way. And we're happy to make purchasing a home a little easier by offering a closing cost credit for qualified first-time buyers. Be sure to ask about down payment assistance, too. Find a loan officer near you at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
The kick is up and wide left.
Why don't they customize the goalposts?
Gina Della from Pella? How'd you get into the booth?
No, listen. If they made our goalposts just a little wider, and why just yellow? It's Green Bay. Add some green stripes.
Sure, Gina. Should they also remove the G at midfield and paint a Pella crest?
Okay, Wayne, I get it. You can't customize a football game to go the way you want, but Pella can customize your home the way you want. From durable materials and fold-away hardware to custom colors and ease of maintenance, backed by quality craftsmanship, energy efficiency, and warranties that will last for years.
And this has got to be the Pella Dagger.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 60 months at PellaWI.com. Okay, now I've got popcorn and soda.
Right here.
$22.50, please.
Too bad we can't customize concession prices.
That's it. You got this, partner? I'm out of here.
Hold your appointment on or before November 8th. Certain restrictions apply.
Gabe Neitzel here. I know you've already heard me talking about how Mentality has helped me over the years, but there are others like me. Jason has been using Mentality for a while now and is loving the results.
I have gotten a handful of friends, probably a couple dozen, especially those that are closer to my age, maybe even a little bit older, because I just tell them, you got to check this out. Do not wait any longer. Just go and admit it. Yep, you're at an age where things are slowing down. I promise you, you're not going to regret it, and that's truly what I get. I'll get a phone call after, like, man, I feel like a kid at Chuck E. Cheese right now.
Learn more today at LowTUSA.com.
Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
As we continue with Jason Wilde, so much to get into. All we really were talking about was the injuries, and and we haven't even gotten into what these teams actually are and what a 6-2 Packers team. Because I was saying, if you told me that they were going to lose the first game and Jordan Love was going to get injured, and then they'd be sitting at 6-2. I would say you'd have to be feeling ridiculously amazing about this team, but I don't know if people do feel that way. I mean, what's your take as we hit the midway point of the season?
Well, first of all, obviously, Malik Willis has saved their season, and I don't know if you had a couple of Coors Lights on the table with Goody, if he would even say, "Oh yeah, I knew that he was going to be able to come in."
Well, Jason, this is where I said on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, I don't give Goody the credit for the Malik Willis deal, because I believe he did that as a developmental long-term deal. I think you have to give LaFleur all the credit, because LaFleur and Malik Willis, obviously, give first and foremost Malik Willis the credit, but also LaFleur, because he took a guy that was brought in to be developmental and had 2 weeks to get him ready. And, and you saw how basic what he asked him to do was against the Colts, which is why I said earlier in the show, to me, the biggest surprise win of the year for the Packers was actually at the Titans. I did not see that coming because of how limited the offense was at home against the Colts and how good the Titans defense had been. That's the win that surprised me the most for the Packers this year.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Now, people will say, well, Karmazin and Wilde are Goody haters. No, I give him credit for a lot of the other things he's put on this roster. There's no doubt about it. And look, he still deserves some credit because he did make that trade to acquire the guy. But I totally agree with you. He did not go into this believing that if Jordan Love, who did not miss a game last year, remember, were to suffer an injury, that he would be able to win 2.5 games. I mean, look, given the time of the game when Jordan Love gets hurt, if you have someone who is not adept to the degree that Malik Willis was for the entire second half, you lose that game. And suddenly now we're talking about, let's say they lose those other 2 games that they won early in the year, or let's even say that they split. They're 1-2 in the 3 games, or 0-3 in the 3 games that Malik Willis played, and now they're sitting at 3-5 or 4-4 at best, instead of at 6-2. So, and what I think this does is that it gives them a little bit of wiggle room. Now, I'm not saying that they don't want to win today, and obviously with Jordan Love playing, that is a huge thing, that they're going to be able to have him in the lineup. But even if, let's say they lose today, I still don't think that is the death knell for them winning this division. If you look at what the Lions have ahead of them, they don't have an easy path. The Packers' schedule also gets more challenging. They've got some pretty big games down the stretch, too. So this is a critical game. Don't get me wrong. It's pivotal in their season, but it is not an end-all, be-all. And I'm really curious to see how Love plays, and if he doesn't play well or if he looks hampered, are they willing to say, all right, he's not ready to play. He's not able to do what we need him to do. He tried it. Are they willing to go to Malik Willis if it comes to that today?
No.
These are all things that I don't think so either.
No, I mean, because I think
benching him.
But what we saw against
he doesn't look like he's well.
But don't you think that's what we saw against the Vikings? Like, it was like, maybe he's not ready yet. He's not planting well. He's thrown some picks, and then he figured it out and played great, right? I mean, I think that's what's more likely to happen, even if Jordan Love comes out and doesn't look good in the first quarter.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's ineffective. I'm saying he's doing the same thing he did last week. Like, look, he makes the throw, right, to Tucker Kraft, and it turns into a 67-yard gain. But you see him hopping around.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think if he's hurt,
he's doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's him taking himself. Like, if he realizes he can't be playing, then he might not play. I think, Jason, your hot take there was that you think the Packers can lose this game and win the division?
I do.
Now, is this because you don't?
I like that, Jason.
Is this because you don't? I mean, so that means you certainly don't buy into like the Bears and Vikings, like that. You don't believe this to be the murderer's row division that it seemingly appeared to be through the first 7-8 weeks of the year.
I don't. I think the Vikings are better than I thought they were going to be this year. I don't think that they are as good as we were starting to think they were when they were sitting at 5-0. I think Kevin O'Connell is a really good coach, and they're going to win more games. But I think ultimately they may not even.
Oh no, we lost Jason.
We did lose Jason.
That's a rarity. I don't know if that's ever happened.
You know what's crazy about the Bears?
What, Craig? What? Let me hear what's crazy about the Bears. How good are they?
No.
I'm sure. Oh,
what?
okay.
Come on now. The teams they've beaten are the Titans.
Trash.
The Rams.
Meh.
The Panthers.
Trash.
And the Jaguars.
Trash.
Right? So if you look at those teams, the Rams have 3 wins, but the other teams that they've beaten
combined 2 wins or 3? 3 combined 3
right?
wins.
Each have like 1 win. I guess the Jaguars have 2 now, right? But I mean, so the Bears, if they had beaten the Commanders last week, I think that you have to give them a whole different look and feel to their season, right?
You think the Commanders are good?
I think the Commanders are. I mean, they're 6-2. I mean, they're
finding ways to win.
Commanders have kind of been like the Packers, right?
The difference is the Packers are clearly better than the Commanders.
But I'm saying if you look at what they've done on the field, the Commanders went to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals. The Commanders,
a Met team this year,
blew out the Arizona Cardinals.
They did.
They played really competitive against the Ravens. I think the Packers are better than the Commanders. Like I don't think I don't have a I don't think that's a hot take, right? I think the Packers are better than the Commanders, but I don't think they're in like a totally different world than that. Back to Jason Wilde.
Well, there's nothing worse in radio than continuing to talk and not realizing that you're talking to your dog and no one else.
That's when, though, having a dog at least meant you weren't talking to yourself. That's good.
That's true. I don't think she was listening, though. I think she was sleeping. So anyway, I'm not sold on the Bears and the Vikings.
Yeah, what I was just saying to Kyle is the Bears' 4 wins are against the Rams, who didn't have their receivers at the time, and then like the Titans, Jags, and teams that aren't competitive teams. So I think we maybe would have looked at the Bears a little different had they beat the Commanders last week. But Kyle's saying
that's what I was saying when I was talking to myself. Perfect.
Nice.
Glad you covered for me.
Nice. And so then when you do look at the NFC, let's look at it as a conference where we said Detroit's the only one with a better record than the Packers. Are you ready to say the Packers are the third best team behind the Eagles and the Lions today? Like, where do you rank them? And Kyle, I want your answer to this also.
I think today they're the second best team in the NFC. I do.
So you say Lions 1, Packers 2.
Packers 2. Look, here's the
and
thing
even though
even
though the Eagles beat them, you're going to put the Packers ahead of the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't love where. I don't know what to make of them, and I am certainly open to being convinced that I'm wrong on that. I'm also of the belief that the team that scares me and the team that I wouldn't want to play, even if they don't win their division and they end up as a wild card somehow, is San Francisco.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they've lost Ayuk. That's obviously not good, but they seem to be getting healthier everywhere else. Christian McCaffrey could be back soon. Their other running back Mason has been a really pleasant surprise for them. He's in the top 5 in rushing. That's a team that I don't want any part of if I'm a Packers fan, or if I'm Kyle. That's the team that I think my team, the Packers, are better than, but I'm a little bit worried about how they will look 6 weeks from now when you compare the two, or frankly, in 2.5 weeks or whatever it is. What do they play them on? The 24th, Kyle? Is that when they play the 49ers?
Is it the week after?
Yeah, I mean, we said this is Lions bye at Bears 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know the Niners aren't what they were coming into the year, but this is a 3-game, 4-week period that's going to tell us a lot about this team.
Agreed. Yeah,
and also,
and look,
and some of those NFC tiebreakers also, right? When we're talking about not just division, but potential wild card, tie breaking.
Mm-hmm. And the Lions again then a couple weeks after that, because they then play at home on Thanksgiving night against the Dolphins, and then they turn right around, and the following Thursday they're in Detroit to face the Lions again. So this is obviously a very critical stretch, no doubt about it. But I still feel good about this team, and I understand that. We'd like to. It was interesting talking to offensive guys this week. I know Rob Domofsky wrote about this as well on ESPN.com and ESPNWisconsin.com. But the offensive guys are frustrated. Like, even with Love missing time, even with the fact that they're still 6-2, or you could say, well, it's okay, we'll get it figured out. Talking with Elton Jenkins, talking with Tucker Kraft, talking with Jordan Love, they're all like, we're just leaving so much out there. And that, to me, is the difference between them and the Lions right now, is the Lions aren't leaving stuff out there. They're putting up so many points. The one time that the Lions lost, they were in the red zone 7 times against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they scored 1 touchdown.
Wow.
So the one time that they lost, they had every opportunity to blow that game wide open, too. So it's going to be a Jeff Hafley game today. I think if they can prevent this from becoming a track meet where the Packers have to keep up scoring-wise, if they can harness a little bit of the Lions' offense and keep it from putting up a really big number, on the Lambeau Field scoreboard. I like their chances at home.
Wow, you just made me change one of my picks today in a confidence pool. I just upped my confidence in the Commanders from 5 up to 10 because the last time they played the Giants, they were in the red zone 7 times and settled for 7 field goals en route to a 21-18 victory. Kyle, let me hear yours. Where do the Packers rank in the NFC?
I agree. There's a second-place team in the NFC, and I agree with actually the sentiment of the offensive players. I just feel like the Packers have not found a consistent rhythm. We saw them play very well against the Cardinals, but we haven't seen them put together a full game. And so I kind of feel the way that the players feel, and I think that's why Jason may have them as number 2 because you know how good they are. But, Jason, you don't feel like they've been playing up to their full potential this year.
You said it perfectly, Kyle. There's just so much more out there for them, and if they can do in the second half of the season what they did in the second half last year, they're so much better positioned already than they were last year when they struggled so much in the first half and didn't know what their offensive guys were capable of, and we didn't know what Jordan Love was.
Wait, so Jason, are you saying I should add the Packers +3 in this confidence pool? That they should be one of my 5 teams I picked this week? Or are we not sure?
No,
Too much health stuff this week, so we stay away from this week.
Health, yeah, 2 things. One, health, and second, there's part of me that thinks this would favor the Packers, but I do not like the weather forecast. Now, I certainly would like it even less if I was sitting in the bleachers, but it's supposed to rain all game long, essentially. So that, Rodgers used to say that wind, but not rain, not snow, not cold weather affected the offense. It was just wind. And so we'll see if Jordan Love plays the same way that Rodgers would under all these other conditions. He thought that they could throw the ball effectively. He would always say that a slippery track favored the offense because they knew where they were going and the defense didn't. But, of course, that flip side. Here's the craziest stat that I still can't believe. We are in week 9 of the NFL season, and the Detroit Lions are playing outside for the first time this year, and one of only 3 outdoor games that they will play all year. So I don't know if that slippery, rainy, wet weather is going to benefit the Packers against a team that could not be more of an indoor team to this point in the year. But I'm always leery of weather games that funny stuff happens, and I would never risk my confidence pool on a game like this with this weather.
All right, last thing for both of you. So you both just said the Packers are the second best team in the NFC. I go over to ESPN Bet right now, and it says odds to win the Super Bowl. You have the Lions, the 49ers, and the Eagles all ahead of the Packers, who are 4th. The Packers are sitting at 15-1. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are 14-1 to win an NBA Finals. Who do you, Jason and Kyle, feel better about? Packers to win the Super Bowl today or the Bucks to win the NBA Finals? As the Bucks sit here at 1-5, and we will save the receipts on this. We'll start with you, Kyle.
Oh, the Packers. The Packers. The Bucks haven't shown me any type of potential of the fact that other than they're old. So I'm going with the Green Bay Packers because I think they do have a shot.
All right, Jason?
All right. So if we're saying it today on November 3rd, the clear answer has to be the Packers, because even what Kyle and I were just talking about them offensively, you still have seen glimpses of how good they can be. I don't feel like we've seen that from the Bucks. My issue is that there's 6 games into the season. That's not even 1/10 of the season yet, right? They're not even to 10% of their schedule.
Right. They're like 0-1 if it was an NFL season, maybe getting close to 0-2.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. So I'm not in any way willing to write them off. So I am curious why the 49ers, given everything that they've dealt with, would be still a better, a lower or a higher odds. What does that go? They've got better odds to win the Super Bowl than the Packers do right now. I am curious what ESPN Bet's odds makers why they would feel that way.
Yeah, and they're ahead of the Bills. They're ahead of the Bills. So they are 4th overall. So really interesting, massive game. Green Bay game day coming up right at noon, right as we jump off Jason Wilde Hour. Always an exciting part of that show. Jason, look forward to hearing more of you coming up soon as we get ready for this monster clash of NFC North leaders. And Jason's, you know what? Let's get a Palermo's pick from Jason real quick, because Palermo's is amazing. Yesterday, I got the Screamin' Sicilian cheesy bread. I didn't even know it existed. I was at Sendik's yesterday and picked that up. It's amazing from our good friends at Palermo's. For multi-generations, Wisconsin-owned, creating jobs here. They are Wisconsin's pizza, but they even have more stuff, like that Screamin' Sicilian cheesy bread I picked up yesterday. So, Jason, your Palermo's pick sounds like it's going to go Detroit, but you're still saying the Packers can win the division?
I do believe that, but I'm going to say that I think the Packers win this today.
Oh, go Pack, go, Kyle!
I like that.
How about Jason Wilde?
Listen, Jason, that would make for a good Sunday after what we had to watch over this past weekend with our Wisconsin sports. So I need this.
Yeah. Well, I hope that they give it to you, buddy.
Well, we'll hear what Wilde and Tausch have to say on Monday about the Badger loss, and I'm sure they'll also be talking about this.
Not much.
This Packers game against the Lions. Thanks so much, Jason.
All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Hey, we got a lot of extra Jason Wilde after many of us all being away. I don't know if we have time for a 7-Eleven. We going to sneak one in?
We'll maneuver some commercials and do some things.
All right, we'll be back quick, and we'll get you to a hopefully a 7-Eleven as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Looking to get away this winter? Well, now's your chance. Hey, it's Molly Brown from Jim, Matt, and Molly. Our friends at Coors Light are giving away a Florida experience this is.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we're the cold weather experts, offering unbeatable deals on the gear and supplies you need to get ready for winter. Like 30% off all zero exposure outerwear for the family. All Trico wiper blades are buy one, get one half price. Get $120 instant savings when you buy 4 Cooper tires. Rewards members save an extra $50. Plus, get up to $100 in additional savings by consumer rebate when you buy 4.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Hauntingly good deals await you at the Kunis Auto Group's October Spooktacular Savings Event. There will be no tricks, only treats.
Trick or treat!
On the price you'll get on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Prices will be slashed at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealership. America's best-selling cars, trucks, and SUVs from both Buick and GMC. All marked down with October Spooktacular Savings discounts and incentives, including their entire inventory of pre-owned vehicles. Choose from over 1,500 on lot or online. There'll be dozens of spooktacular service specials and everything from brakes, tires to oil changes. Plus, with any test drive in October, you'll be entered to win free gas for a year, with drawings held every Friday throughout the month at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis dealerships in both Greenfield and Oak Creek. Halloween savings aren't just slashed, they're chainsawed at the Kunis Auto Group's October Spooktacular Savings Event going on now. For additional event info, go to shopkunis.com.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Aside from a house or a car specifically, what is the most expensive thing you own? Winnie?
A car!
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Alligator. Name something that's better than being rich.
4. Besides a bird, something in a bird cage.
Hamster.
Something that comes with a summer storm.
Snow.
Something Russia's famous for, Bob.
Russians.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob!
Naked grandma!
Reason you might stay indoors on a beautiful day.
Because it's raining?
Name something you might buy that could turn out to be phony.
Yeah, a horse.
Name a time that most people get up.
In the morning.
A time most people go to bed.
at night.
This is the 7 at 11 on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin.
Oh boy, I've been on the hook for a little bit here, so we'll see what Kyle has prepared for me.
Yeah, so what a hectic day it's been, hasn't it?
Yes.
And so overall, there were some conversations that were being had. Earlier, I misheard something that you said, which triggered my mind. And then also Jason said something as well that's made me say, huh, because you were talking about the Green Bay Packers defense, and it made me think about like running the football. I said, well, I wonder who are the top 7 rushing leaders in the NFL this year, Craig?
Oh my. So Kyle, I don't know if you want to keep this question.
Oh, you just looked.
I was driving in a car this week with a friend of mine's son, and I said, like, all right, I'm going to throw you the rushing leaders. I'm going to throw you the this, the that. Now, I only did the top 5 with him, but I know the top 5.
That makes it tough.
It kind of is unfair.
It makes it tough because of the fact that I was looking. The whole point of this one was the fact
I know
that
Mason is 3rd.
And we play against the 49ers. You played against Saquon Barkley.
I know Barkley. I know Henry. I know Jacobs. I know there's another one who I'd think of in the top 5. Who I can't right now, but I'm saying I think if I give it some thought, I don't love this question because I feel like I'm kind of cheating.
Well, the whole point of this was the fact that you got him is that Jordan Mason, the Packers will play. Saquon Barkley, the Packers have played with the Eagles. Jordan Mason with the 49ers. The Packers have Josh Jacobs. The Packers played against Joe Mixon. He went hammers on us. The Packers will play today against Jameer Gibbs, who
was Mixon the one I forgot?
Mixon is the one that you forgot. And then Jameer Gibbs, who's number 8.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Gibbs. I actually would have said J.K. Dobbins. Is he on the list?
He's not on the list.
Oh, okay, so I would have got it wrong.
But that's okay. But the whole point of this was and then they played against James Conner, and they played against Kyron Williams. The whole point of this, and Aaron Jones. So like when you look at the top 10, top 12,
I would have gone Kyron over those other guys.
Yeah, Kyron isn't on. He's not in the top 7, but Najee Harris is. But the whole point, and Chuba Hubbard. And the whole point of this that I was going to make here, Craig, is the fact that the Green Bay Packers, when we look at their defense, if the Packers are able to make a run in the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, it's not like the defense would not have been tested. When you're going up against top rushing leaders week in,
I don't think they've been tested.
You don't think they've been? They haven't passed these tests against Saquon Barkley.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
Joe Mixon,
you don't in the NFL. I feel like you don't get shredded in the regular season. I know this is weird to say. I don't think you get shredded in the regular season by getting run against. I mean, you can get run against, and those teams can, put up yards, but I don't think that means you can't beat them. So they haven't stopped the run, but if you're not playing against quarterbacks who are effective, then you're going to win a lot of games. And I just don't feel like they've played against that many good offenses, and the offenses that they've played against we're missing some pretty key parts.
But
right?
don't you like the dominance they've shown against some of these teams? Because when I think about last year,
I like the way they dominated Arizona. I don't know if there's another game that I would say that about.
They had the Titans. They had like 8 sacks against the Titans.
The Titans are terrible. I don't care. I don't care. No. I'm saying the game, the offense. I loved what Malik Willis did against the Titans. That showed me a lot. But don't tell me what the defense did against the Titans did anything for anyone.
Usually we see pretty eye to eye. Like we see the same thing.
Bears,
we see from a
the Bears did the same thing to the Titans. Like everybody's done the same thing from the Titans.
No, Craig, you're not giving the defense enough credit because when I look at it overall, the Packers had to beat the Colts with defense, and I know Anthony Richardson has been a disaster this year.
That's what I'm saying.
But this is the same defense that let Tommy DeVito run up and down the field and drive down the field.
I'm not saying it's not better. No. I'm just saying that was at the time where we were like, hey, could this team be we weren't even thinking they could be a playoff team last year. Now we're talking about, can they be a Super Bowl team? Like the bar has been raised so high for this team.
Yeah.
So this defense is so much better.
If they're so much better, why are we discrediting them by saying that? Oh well, they haven't done anything impressive. The fact
because I don't think
they stepped up when we needed them to step up. Despite the fact I didn't like the way last week.
They didn't stop the Eagles and get the ball back in week 1.
Oh, it was week 1 in Brazil. That terrible field. Like I understand.
I know. I guess what I'm saying is what offense? Like we saw how broke the Texans offense was against the Jets on Thursday night, right? Like I'm just saying I don't think we've seen an offense anything resembling the Lions since week 1. And not that the Eagles are as good as the Lions, but this is the closest thing we've seen. So to me, I'm not saying the Packers defense isn't much improved, but to me, this is the first time you could truly say they're either going to pass this test or not. That's why this game is so fascinating to me, to see how the Packers defense stacks up. No, they were just flashing all sorts of things on the screen. How the Packers defense stacks up in this game against the Lions.
Again, I think this is another opportunity. When I look at the Vikings game, the defense did not play great, but they played great in the second half. And the one thing they had to go up against,
they were giving short fields and all that in that game.
And that is what I'm trying to say.
The defense was solid there, but again, the Vikings aren't like the Rams from the 99 Rams, right? And they put up
the 99 Rams, but they were
and they
good
put up 40 points or whatever in that game.
They
right?
put 31 points.
29.
It was 31-29, and the Green Bay Packers defense was able to keep us alive in the second half versus all the turnovers, like you said, they had to deal with. That's something as well when we talk about
but
the
pendulum
pendulum
of momentum. But don't you think the Vikings got pretty conservative once they were winning in that game? I don't think the Packers really
forced turnovers too in that game against Sam Darnold. They started dialing up some pressure against Sam Darnold and not just sitting back there and letting him chop up and carve up the Packers defense.
If that's your exhibit A of the Packers defense, that a game where they lost to the Vikings at home, then fine.
Oh, I don't like you saying that. That seems condescending. If that's my exhibit A,
that's what I'm saying.
Like you're not a believer in my Packers.
No, I'm saying I'm not. I'm saying today is our chance to be a believer in this defense. Today is a chance to see if they come anywhere close to making the Lions look like they made the Lions look last year on Thanksgiving, then I'm a believer in this defense. I'm just saying we have not seen them truly tested outside of the opening week. And by the way, in the opening week, the offense is what let them down early in that game. The Packers caused those turnovers early in that game, and if the Packers offense had converted those to touchdowns, I think we would have seen a different defense in that game, because I think they would have been able to play differently had they gone up bigger earlier. So I'm not criticizing the defense in any way. I'm just saying that we've seen them give up a bunch of rushing yards, and I'm not going to destroy them for that. I'm saying this is an offense that has the diversification, even without Jameson Williams, by the way. I'm not here to say we're seeing them without their deep threat today, which we are, right? Jameson Williams is not playing in this game, and he is the Lions' deep threat. So they are playing without the Lions' deep threat. But I am saying that we will have a much better feel for this defense after today. By the way, ESPN just showed the Packers have a 40% chance to win the division if they win, a 10% chance to win the division if they lose.
I don't believe these statistics and stats, Craig. It's because the Bears had a 99.2% chance of winning that football game. And guess what happened last week? They took the L. Go Pack, go, baby.
Yeah, I still believe the stats, but I believe that's why it wasn't a 100% chance for them to win, because something as crazy as that could happen. But as we go into this game, we know it's going to be rainy. We know it's going to be that. So, there'll be some things that aren't there. But to me, if the Packers show up defensively today, I think then we could say, wow, we're at the midway point of this season. This team, whether they end up 7-2 or 6-3, has a defense that can compete with the best offense in their conference. This team has a chance to go to the NFC Championship. I think that's what you want to be saying coming out of today, because I'm with you and Jason. I don't think we've seen the best of the offense yet. I think the offense is going to be even better than anything we've seen this year, because Jordan Love hasn't been able to get in a true rhythm. They have so many weapons, and they haven't been able to use them all. And Jacobs, if he stays healthy, is proven to be good, and they have other even weapons in the running game. So we'll talk more about this, as well as maybe even get back into some of the Bucks and Badgers talk we were having earlier. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. It doesn't matter if it's your first betting slip ever or just the first one of the week. We've got your Potawatomi sportsbook picks covered. Tune in Wednesdays to the Weekly Wager with Greg Matzik, Ben Brust, and Jen Latta.
If someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything, you take it.
The Weekly Wager, Wednesday nights at 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel.
Do you remember that electric moment when you suddenly realized that she was the one?
The one you were going to love forever.
The one you'd been waiting your whole life to meet.
She is the one.
The one.
Now it's time to find the one engagement ring that sparkles like she does.
Come to Kessler's Diamonds. We have a collection of incredibly special diamond engagement rings called the One Collection.
You need one special engagement ring for the one woman you will ever love.
Kessler's Diamonds is the one jewelry store where you can find the One Collection.
And Kessler's is the one store that offers the world-famous, no excuses, no fine print, lifetime warranty on every diamond engagement ring we sell.
We have the freedom to do this for you because Kessler's Diamonds is the one diamond store owned by its employees.
The One Collection starts at just $550.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kessler's nearest you at kesslersdiamonds.com.
Fisco is always there for your auto body care. When accidents happen, Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin is there when you need them. Got a broken mirror? They'll take care of it. Dented bumper? Scratch paint? Fisco Auto Body will take care of it. If there's any damage you need fixed, Fisco has you covered. Their expert workmanship is guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. So stop in for all of your auto bumps and dings. Once again, you know the line. That's Fisco.
Save big money on your next project with help from Menards. Update your home with Peyton Vinyl Plank Flooring. It's waterproof and durable, making it perfect for active families. It's available in 2 styles and features an attached pad for added comfort and easy installation. Trust Menards for all your flooring needs. And view the weekly flyer for all of our great deals happening this week on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
When your car or truck needs service, you should take it to a specialist. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. At a member, new car dealers have factory-warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians. Plus, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine things like oil changes and tire service. Knowing all that, why would you ever consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Bruston Nortman. I love this time of year. Playoff baseball, the start of hoop season, and of course, football. I'm all about watching the action on the gridiron with a carbless in my hand. Premium, ready-to-drink cocktails with no malt, no carbs, and no sugar. Vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, black raspberry, and lemon lime, and classic cocktail flavors like Paloma or Margarita. Find Carbless at your local grocer and enjoy game day. Carbless. Less is more.
It takes a team to meet just about any goal, and that's as true on the football field as it is in the office. So it's good to know that you have the Gordon Flesch Company on your side. For more than 60 years, GFC has provided cutting-edge office technology for companies of all sizes, and as the nation's largest Canon dealer, GFC delivers the latest office technology, service, and is supported by the most experienced professionals in the industry. That's business technology managed. Visit gflesh.com to learn more.
We got London on the track. Horses don't stop, they keep going. Yeah. You can lose your life, but it gon' keep going.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
All right, lots of things still to get into. Bo says from Fort Atkinson, Kyle is delusional. You can go down the Packers wins and say the same exact thing as you were talking about how it's so ridiculous for me to say that I thought the Titans were going to beat the Packers going into that.
He must be one of them Bears fans, huh? That's what Bo must be.
Hey, the Titans outplayed the Bears, despite the Bears winning that game. Brian says, how about a recap of Badger football for a segment here? I I don't think we can handle that.
No, Craig, I can tell you this right now. As I have said before, my little cousin used to play for the Wisconsin Badgers, and it was.
By the way, your little cousin's on Michigan State now, right?
He's been balling out. I mean, yesterday
what happened with their defense against Indiana?
Two things. I'll tell you this. I'm glad you brought that up. He was out for the first half because he got a targeting call in the previous game at the end of the third quarter at Michigan. I was very upset about that. Very upset in the stands. Balling out, though. And so Indiana basically, Craig, Wisconsin fans should simply be upset because of what Indiana has been able to do in a matter of months. They were able to hire a coach from James Madison. He was able to recruit some guys, get some transfers in, a lot from James Madison, and he was able to create an identity of football. Yesterday, they had 3 straight passes where they just lobbed it up to somebody because they noticed that they were just better. The Wisconsin Badgers have absolutely no identity. They can't throw the ball up to anybody. They've done a terrible job of, I don't want to say recruiting, but they've done a terrible job of developing. So for me, I'm glad you brought up what happened against Indiana because Indiana was trash last year. Wisconsin should have beat them. They ended up losing to them, but still, Indiana was not a good football team. Indiana is going to make the college football playoffs, and guess what, Craig? Indiana might pull off the upset against Ohio State next week because of the fact that they truly believe in the identity of their football program. Now I switch over to Wisconsin, and unfortunately, Wisconsin does not have an identity. They don't know what they want to do. They don't have the toughness needed in order to be successful in the Big Ten. Regardless of how you felt about Paul Chryst and his football teams, one thing you knew is that for the most part, they were going to compete. I cannot believe that Wisconsin went to Iowa yesterday and lost 42-10. I saw Michigan State play Iowa, and Michigan State is not as talented as Wisconsin. Michigan State is years behind Wisconsin when it comes to where they want to be. But the fact that Michigan State was able to be tougher than Iowa and beat Iowa at Michigan State a couple weeks ago, it made me believe that Wisconsin was going to come in here and go to Iowa and be able to win the football game. Never in my wildest dreams did I believe that Wisconsin would lose 42-10 to a not good football team. That team at Iowa is not good, Craig. They are no bueno. They are no good. So yesterday has to be very upsetting. We have bigger issues than I thought we did prior to this game. I thought for sure we were going to beat Iowa, Craig. I thought for sure. No excuses.
And the Badgers looked pretty good against Penn State for most of that game.
Penn State's decent too.
Right, but I'm saying against Penn State, if they didn't make that choice to throw the ball out of their own end zone in that second half, I still think Wisconsin could have won that game. You know, they were playing a backup quarterback who didn't have confidence, who seemingly got a bunch of confidence once they were in the lead after the Badgers threw that pick six, right? I believed coming off of that first half against Penn State, and some things went right in the first half, some drops, some different things that helped the Badgers, that I thought this team was like reasonably competitive. I did not think going into that game last night that they would win that game.
Let me tell you.
I did not think they'd win that game, but I also did not think that what happened would happen. And you mentioned Indiana playing Ohio State. That's like 3 weeks from now.
Oh, not next week?
No, Ohio State's got Purdue this coming week.
What does Indiana have next week?
I don't know. It's in 3 weeks that Ohio State and Indiana has Michigan.
Well, let me tell you, they're going to run through them too. But I'm telling you this right now, Craig, it is so disappointing and upsetting. You said believe. You said you believed that Wisconsin had an opportunity to beat Penn State. Craig, they didn't believe they could beat Penn State. Just like when they were up against USC, they couldn't believe they were up against you. Oh, we're playing USC. We're going on the road. It's a big game. USC ain't good either. But the Green Bay, the Wisconsin Badgers don't believe that they should be winning these football games. They're just happy to be up. There is a mentality issue that is going on because these kids don't believe that they should be winning these football games. They're just excited to be in these football games, right? They're not playing to win, and that is the most frustrating part. I grew up watching the Wisconsin Badgers be competitive year in, year out, week in, week out. It didn't matter what the record was. I knew Wisconsin was going to be competitive, and that is gone.
And you look at what Paul Chryst, where he had this team, I think it is now fair, very fair, right, to say that this team is not where that was. Now, we can't say that Paul Chryst in this day and age, in this NIL transfer portal world, was going to have the team in that spot. So I think that's the thing that's unfair.
I know, but they were, Craig, the last years that we struggled with them, and even the year that Jim Leonard took over, they were still more competitive at the end of the year against these teams. Like that, they beat the hell out of Iowa at home that year, and now we're getting throttled by Iowa 2 seasons later.
Absolutely,
this is embarrassing. Or was it? No, maybe that was the year before that they throttled Iowa. I think it was the year before they throttled Iowa, and then 2 years ago they went to Iowa, and it was a close game. Graham Mertz threw some interceptions, but it was closer than this. It was competitive.
Now, how much of this do you say, hey, the quarterback's been gone all year? How different would this year?
Tyler Van Dyke wasn't going to make no difference. We saw enough of Tyler Van Dyke to know that he wasn't going to elevate this football team. They have other
based
issues.
on a game against like Northern Michigan and like Alabama, a snap against Alabama.
We struggled before the Alabama game.
I know.
We struggled. We didn't look good.
But I'm saying the team looked better after, so maybe the rest of the team and with Van Dyke could have been better.
42 against Iowa was unacceptable.
Phil's the banker. You're on Sunday Karma. Morning, Phil.
Hey, gentlemen. The Badgers have become kind of a joke here, haven't they? I mean, we're down in the depths of the Big Ten. I mean, we're down with the Purdue's. I know we beat these guys, but that's where we are. We're in the bottom tier of the league at this point. And this is all Chris McIntosh. He had maybe one of the most brilliant defensive minds that I've ever seen in Jim Leonard that desperately wanted the job, and he dumped him for some Ohio State, Cincinnati, whatever he was, guys, you got to remember those guys like Tressel, they're used to having the best talent on the field. Jim Leonard's used to winning with subpar talent and strategy and scheme and brilliance. I mean, we got guys that can literally only win if we have better talent on the field. That's our strategy.
So
now.
Phil, this came down to, it seems, right, like Chris McIntosh either was going to go with a Wisconsin guy who could continue, the closest thing to the heritage of this program that you could, or you could roll the dice and say, hey, we've never made the CFP. We're making the big bet. I mean, he did that, right? Like it would have been easier, right, to go with Leonard, right? So he seemingly made the more difficult decision that you're saying was the wrong one.
Well, okay, he rolled the dice. He lost. Like he can't make that decision. Lose a great mind like Leonard, who loved the state of Wisconsin, loved the Badgers,
yep.
and would have. There's no way we wouldn't be competitive this year without Leonard, because I don't care what talent we have in the field. He's a brilliant defensive mind.
So I watched, Phil, this week, and don't ask me why, but I watched back Barry Alvarez's press conference when Brett Bielema left. And Barry, as the athletic director, said, no matter what, there's a certain identity. He's like, I don't care if they have a connection to Wisconsin, but no matter what, there's an identity that we have at Wisconsin that we're going to need to keep. And it was interesting to watch that because at the time he said in that press conference, we're not going to go after Paul Chryst. He's staying at Pittsburgh. And they ended up bringing in Anderson, right? Who went as far away from the identity of Wisconsin as any of us could have predicted that hire was going to do. And, I mean, ultimately, this is the second hire like that of the modern coaching era, right? The second hire that's not a, Wisconsin brand of football hire.
It seems like Fickle is trying to say, okay, I'm going to compete against the Alabamas. I'm going to do it the same way they're doing by bringing the highest talented guys. And a very vanilla, bland, stupid scheme, And so if the only way you're going to win that way is if you have the most talent on the field, and we showed that maybe against some of these really, really bad teams, maybe we did have more talent on the field, or maybe we got lucky against Northwestern. I don't even know, but clearly we're not winning on strategy. This is our strategy is terrible. I mean, we have it's painful to watch the Badgers how far we've fallen in such a short time, and so if Chris McIntosh is going to take that gamble. And go away from that. He's got to go. We can't keep Chris McIntosh. He's got to go. You can't roll the dice, destroy the program, and keep your job and trust him to pick the next guy.
Oh, I disagree with that. I mean, I think, he may have gotten it wrong, but I don't think anybody at the time, I know there were people who believed a lot in Jim Leonard, but I don't think anybody, and nobody thought Luke Fickell was a bad hire at the time. People may have thought, hey, Jim Leonard.
I was ticked.
Yeah, I'm saying, but that's because of Jim Leonard and the thought. But it wasn't like, oh, Luke Fickell's not a great football coach. Luke Fickell hasn't proven it everywhere he's gone. Like, I think Fickell was seen as a good hire. It wasn't the choice of everyone, but it was like a lot of people were like, wow, Wisconsin could get Luke Fickell? I mean, I think that was the perception throughout the college football world. So, okay, Phil, what do you think is going to happen when, I watched Oregon yesterday. And I watched them just tear through a defense yesterday at will whenever they wanted to. What do you think happens 2 weeks from now when the number one football team in the country comes to Wisconsin?
I mean, I think Badger's going to have a heck of a time winning any more games. They're going to have a hard time winning any of these games. Minnesota, forget it.
Tougher than us?
No chance.
Minnesota's tougher than us. I saw it yesterday. I watched their
way
game.
Tougher.
This is terrible.
Minnesota pulled out their win against USC that the Badgers did not.
And then they went to Illinois and beat Illinois yesterday.
So you guys both
think we're better than Nebraska? We're not better than Nebraska. Nebraska's going to beat us too.
I'm telling you, Craig, we are not tough. It comes down to that. The biggest mistake that Luke Fickell made, and he's going to regret this because eventually he may end up getting fired, and it will come down to the fact that instead of giving Jimmy Leonard the defensive coordinator position, he was going to try to make him a co-defensive coordinator with this trash defensive coordinator that we got with Tressel, and now we find ourselves in this predicament. If you are able to keep Jim Leonard on just the way he got kept on the staff at Ohio State, we're in a different position.
So you're not even saying what Phil's saying, like, hey, you need to hire Jim Leonard as the head coach. You're saying that they actually could have had the best of both worlds and still could have kept Jim Leonard.
And you keep the defense wasn't the problem. You had one of the best defenses for like a decade, and you ruined it. You absolutely ruined it. We got Iowa 42 points yesterday. They look like Oregon.
The defense is trash. It's trash now.
That was like a month. I mean, and Iowa's offense has gotten better, but that was like a month of Iowa's offense last year. All right, thanks, Phil. All right, we will.
Their offense is not good. I'm telling you, Craig. I watched the Michigan State versus Iowa game, and they Caleb Johnson. He had one run of 78 yards, and the rest of the game only had 27 yards rushing. He had one big run for a touchdown. Other than that, the Michigan State slowed him down, and we can't stop this team.
Don't act like Caleb Johnson can't play. Like that's a great running back.
But we should have been able to stop them at Wisconsin. You just have to be tough, and we are not tough anymore. It's not fun to watch, and it's disappointing.
They beat Washington 40-16. They beat Northwestern 40-14, and then they beat Wisconsin 42-10. So Wisconsin's grouped right in this year with those teams.
Those are the three teams we grouped in with.
Yep.
Well, then hell, I don't want to. If I got to be with Washington, who sucks this year, I got to be with Northwestern, who sucks this year.
But that's what Wisconsin is. They're 3-3 in the Big Ten, and that's kind of the level that this team has proven out to be. Now, as I said, it can all change in one game, right? 2 weeks from now, this team can be legendary if they do something against Oregon, who, by the way, has scored 30 points or more.
Craig, listen to
in every game except when they beat Idaho 24-14. So let's look at that Idaho film. Can we look at the Idaho film see how Idaho slowed them down?
Not happening. Craig, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be
how Boise put up 34 points against them
because they have an incredible running back.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If Luke Fickell was the coach and the football team, the better football team was like this when you came and visited Wisconsin back in the day when you were a young buck.
I wouldn't have never visited Wisconsin.
Well, good Karma Brands wouldn't be here.
It wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't have a job.
I never would have visited. If this was the Badger team, I never, as a college student in Atlanta, back when you couldn't have all the games televised, I wouldn't be going to sports bars to watch the Badgers, which I did every week when I was in college in Atlanta to watch this Badger team. And then this company never would have existed. That is a very, very fair point. All right, we got more 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. More on the Badgers, the Bucks, and big Packer game. And Alex Stroh's going to join us for a little Green Bay game day prep as we move on. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Here's what Tammy Baldwin thinks about President Trump and you.
Donald Trump might be one of the most offensive and hateful and unacceptable presidential candidates we've ever had. So what does that say about the people who support him?
Tammy Baldwin is a liberal snob. Voter out.
I'm Eric Hovde, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
Visit WisconsinVictoryJFC.com to give today. Paid for by Wisconsin Victory Committee.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we're the cold weather experts, offering unbeatable deals on the gear and supplies you need to get ready for winter. Like 30% off all zero exposure outerwear for the family. 8 packs of Energizer AA or AAA batteries, just $6.99. Blaine's brand Platinum Automotive batteries are $5 off. Plus, check out unbeatable toy deals in Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Toyland, now open. Like a Max side-loading garbage truck toy, $10 off.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic void. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris chat with NBA writer Sam Amick about the start of the season. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
For general contest rules, visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com.
Mark Tauscher here, encouraging you to join in on the fun with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks keeps your lineup live. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, you get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. And you can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game.
Right now, more than 100,000 children waiting in foster care need our help. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is focused on finding them safe, permanent homes. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Come to Kessler's and be greeted by an owner of the store.
We're America's largest employee-owned jewelry company.
Okay, but as a customer, what does that mean to me?
For one thing, it means you get to see every possible diamond choice.
Kessler's has diamonds from diamond mines and created diamonds from plasma chambers.
You can choose from 1,400 loose diamonds.
And every style of engagement ring ever designed.
Okay, I'm convinced.
And no other store can show you a Kessler 81.
With 81 facets instead of just 57, it wins the Sparkle contest every time.
I'm convinced.
And no other store has the Kessler Princess Cut.
Or the exclusive Kessler's Emerald Cut or Kessler's Square Radiant Diamond.
I give up.
And when you want to tell her that you love her twice as much today as the day you married her.
Kessler's has big anniversary diamonds that can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Kessler's is unique in all the world.
So what do you say to all that, Sarah?
Welcome to Kessler's.
Homer here to tell you about Rawhide Youth Services. Co-founded in 1965 by Bart and Cherry Starr, Rawhide is a faith-based nonprofit that helps thousands of youth every year, many right here in Milwaukee, overcome trauma, suicidal thoughts, and live better lives. For youth who are hurting, who feel lost or abandoned, and families feeling powerless to help them, Rawhide is there to help. They also need vehicle donations to support their mission of helping hurting youth transform their future. Donate to Rawhide Youth Services. Visit rawhide.org/donate.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's that time.
Yes, it's finally here.
Craig makes his picks of the week.
You can bet the house on it.
Picks of the week on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin. Presented by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Can't wait to see what happens next.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
it is our good friends at Palermo's who bring us our Palermo's picks. Wisconsin's hometown pizza. This is perfect. 3:25 start. Your really only choice is, do you have the Palermo's at halftime or do you have it after the game? I think you probably do it at halftime with the 3:25 start on a Sunday. I think you fire up preheat the oven in the second quarter, and then whether pizza's your main thing or not, Screamin' Sicilian, Urban Pie, whatever brand of Palermo's you're going to do. Yesterday I told you I got the Screamin' Sicilian cheesy bread. There's so many different derivations of things now that Palermo's has you covered. They are Wisconsin's hometown pizza, Palermo's. All right, lots of stuff to get into. By the way, text comes in from Justin. If Luke trots out Locke in 2 weeks, send him packing. I don't know that there's a reasonable backup option there at quarterback, unfortunately.
If you're going to lose, maybe you lose with the freshman, but it doesn't seem like he's ready yet.
I mean, that would be exciting at least, right? Or
I don't get excited for anything at quarterback. After Graham Mertz was an absolute just disaster for us and a heartbreak and letdown for us, I just want to be shocked. I'm no longer buying any stock of a quarterback that signs with the Wisconsin Badgers.
Wow, that's kind of let's try to make it more positive than that, and let's go out to Lambeau Field to the Tundra Trio, where Green Bay Game Day is getting ready. Alex Strofe, Gabe Neitzel join us on Sunday. Karma, morning, guys.
Morning, Craig. What's happening?
All right, we've had a lot of, I know there's a lot of Bucs things, I know there's a lot of Badgers things, but we're going to focus on the Packers because Green Bay Game Day is coming up. I'll start with you, Strophy, as I believe Chewy had to even rename the version of what a toad is for you. So do you feel like the Packers defense has been tested before this game against the Lions?
Have they been tested? Sure, but not against a team that's as good as the Lions are, right? I mean, you bring in the best 1-2 punch in the league with Montgomery and Gibbs. I'm nervous about what those two guys are going to do, right? It's sloppy conditions today, Craig. It's raining out. There's a lot of blue in Lot 1, which is directly to me and Gabe's right. I see as many Lions fans as I do Packers fans. As positive as we want to be right now, I don't know how positive I can be right now.
Now, I can be positive for you. Jared Goff stinks outside. It's raining. There we go.
Right, I was just saying, Jared Goff is second in the league in passer rating, but when you look at QBR, which actually rates you as an entire quarterback, everything you do, including some of the things that may not show up on the stat sheet, he's a bottom third quarterback. And Gabe, this is that first outdoor game, and it's not just outdoor, it's a messy outdoor game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at the career quarterback rating, and I don't think they have a career QBR for outdoor versus indoor, but it's a huge difference for Jared Goff, and it was a big talking point for, I think, why a lot of people believed in the Lions going into the year, is that they only have 3 outdoor games all year. Yeah. This is game number 1 for them, and then to have these conditions. Now, to Strofe's point, these conditions make you think, okay, you want to run the football a little bit more, and as well as Jahmyr Gibbs has been running the football, and as bad as the Packers have been against the run, against some of the premier running backs that they've gone up against, that does make me a little bit nervous for this game. But, I mean, it also makes me think that as wet and as sloppy as it is, as good as the Packers have been at creating turnovers, that they should be able to create some turnovers against a team that has been turnover adverse.
Staying with you, Gabe, with it being wet and sloppy, would that make you rethink the idea of Jordan Love playing today?
Look, I mean, if they've obviously cleared him, they think he's good to go. This is as conservative of a medical staff in the NFL that exists.
Great point.
And if they're okay with it, even though I'm uncomfortable with it, I think I have to put my trust in Dr. Pat McKenzie and the training staff for the Packers that there is not a significant risk for him to injure the groin further that would cause him to miss a handful of games if he plays today.
Yeah, I don't know how big of a Packers fan you are if you don't have a little bit of the EBGBs around Love playing today, right? I mean, it is a little concerning. We don't know if he's going to be a skeleton of himself or mostly the full version of himself. I just hope he gets out healthy, he gets the bye week next week, and then he can do what he did a year ago, which is be the best quarterback in the NFL the second half of the year.
Greeny and Randy Moss both picked the Packers to win today from the NFL Sunday Countdown crew. The other three picked the Lions to win. So, Alex, as you look at on the other side at the offense, I mean, what do you think this offense does today, given that Jacobs and Love both come into this game pretty banged up?
Yeah, it's concerning, right? I don't know how much we know about the backup. Well, seemingly the backup now, Chris Brooks, but he played well last week. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, Craig, simply put. You don't want Love to be throwing as many interceptions as he has this year. He's injured, as you just mentioned, and we've got a wet football. I think it's going to be ground and pound with Jacobs and Brooks, and you hope they can beat up on this defensive line. The Lions come in with a really beat up defensive line. Obviously, the Aiden Hutchinson injury, but I think they have 3 other defensive linemen out of this game today. So hopefully that works in their favor. But between the injuries and the conditions, I'm not feeling as optimistic as I typically do. But we'll see. Maybe this is the beginning of the second half of the season Love we saw a year ago, and he can shock us all like he did on Thanksgiving a year ago against this very Lions team.
Gabe, what's coming up on Green Bay Game Day today?
We've got Steve Scafidi. He's going to be jumping on with us for a couple segments. Of course, Rob Demoski, Super Bowl champion Jared Bush, Jason Wilde, talking about the weather, breaking down this game. Super excited. Quickly, Craig, I'm deciding to feel positive about last night's Bucs game because they actually played well. Yes, they lost on a last-second shot to a pretty good player in Donovan Mitchell. Am I crazy for saying that?
I feel really good. I mean, the team was competitive, and they got killed off the bench. And if Chris Middleton's there, then Taurean Prince is giving you all of that off the bench, and the Bucs win that game. So it was major progress. I'm not saying we're there yet, but major progress.
Even though it's a loss, I actually walked away from last night feeling oddly. I was in the arena. I felt oddly good about walking away from last night's game.
Yes,
I'm just glad we're on the same page.
And if they hadn't played such good defense on Donovan Mitchell, he would have made the shot earlier, and the Bucs would have gotten the ball back and probably won the game. So it was actually
just unlucky. Craig.
Okay, let's just end the show here before I get more mad. Let's just we're making excuses.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks, guys. Everyone's looking forward to it. Green Bay Game Day coming up next from the Tundra Trio in Green Bay. Thanks to Alex Strofe and Gabe Knights. Also, thanks to Gruber Law Offices, nationally recognized, locally owned. One call, that's all. You only pay if you win. Gruber Law Offices, one call, that's all. We came to you live from the Gruber Law Offices studios. Your Green Bay Game Day coming up next. Thanks to Kyle and everyone else who was a part of it today, including Jason Wilde. You've been listening to Sunday Karma. Stay healthy, stay together, survive today, thrive tomorrow. Don't settle. Kyle, send us out.
Peace.
To the bone. Gotta be the hottest when you shine like chrome. Gotta find that zone.